Wait.
Cool. Do you want to answer the question?
And don't just say shit on the podcast for the sake of the podcast. I wasn't rude to you. I apologize to both you and...
Yeah, cool. Do you want to answer the question?
I feel uncomfortable now.
What is this called? Obfuscation or whatever? Is this rage quit? Okay.
Jim Bob of Made by Jim Bob YouTube channel made his first appearance on the Whatever podcast, and boy, was it a doozy. Brian asked the infamous man or bear question, and there is one woman who was particularly insufferable that didn't want to answer anything, exposed herself as being a complete woketard. Insufferable woketard, jackassery turned up all the way to a 10, possibly an 11. Can Jimbo help turn the jackassery down a bit? Let's see how Jim Bob does on the Whatever podcast.
Right. Would you rather cross paths with a random man or a random bear on a hike?
Totally a man. I could probably take him out better than I could a bear.
Okay. What about you?
I'm going to say bear.
What about you?
I said bear.
Definitely a man. Why would I cross paths with a bear? Man.
Okay, man.
I don't know, but I think man.
Okay.
A tough one, but I chose man.
Man.
So wait, bear for the two of you. Okay, why do you pick bear? Why don't you pick man?
Listen, you're going to think I'm bad faith for saying this, but I just adore animals more than anything.
Cool. What about you?
What about trees?
I just been in too many SA situations, too many stories. I don't want to be on a path alone with another man.
Okay, so like sort of your own anecdotal experience, you've had a lot of bad experiences, so you pick a wild animal over a man. That
notion is just ridiculous because they always bring up the essay, but my essay. And it's like, oh yeah, hey, that bear mauled me to death. Hey, but at least it didn't essay me first. At least it didn't just essay me. And listen, I'm not trying to downplay essay or anything like that. Yes, essay bad. We could all agree. But I think we could also all agree that being mauled to death is worse.
To attribute, like, let's say the risk, the likelihood of risk, or a risk percentage. If you had to say, okay, I think 50% of men would do this, or maybe 20% or 80%. If you had to put a percentage to it, what would it be?
A percentage of men that would...
Essay, yeah.
I don't know.
No. Yeah, I know. Why don't you get...
So I want to put context on this. I saw like most of this when it aired live. This woman right here that they're questioning pretty much refused to answer most questions. Like almost all the questions she refused, and she was all over the place. So she apparently she's Muslim. That's the religion she follows. But she posts up sexual pictures of herself on Instagram, and they called her out on it, and of course she refused to answer or take any responsibility and stuff. She just said, well, I am a bad Muslim. I admit that. But the thing is that when you're following a religion, you try not to be a bad whatever thing it is. She also calls her sexualized pictures on Instagram poetry. She identifies as sapien, whatever the heck that is. She's also college indoctrinated. She has 3 degrees. So, of course, that should tell you all you need to know. And so when she sits there and answers like, well, I don't want to give what I think the percentages of men that are going to essay, of course, she just doesn't want to answer the question. The thing is that she probably thinks it's a high chance. If she's willing to choose a bear over a man, then obviously she thinks it's a high chance she's going to get essayed if she meets a man. So why doesn't she just come out and say it then?
I guess.
I don't even want to say, because that's just insulting to the male species. Like, I don't want to assume a percentage of men that would...
Do you think it's a majority of men?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would hope not.
Here, do you think it's a minority of men?
There's some sort of percentage, of course, but I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, just take a guess. Your guess doesn't have to be correct. It could just be a guess.
I don't want to guess because it could, if I guess too high, it can make me look bad. And if I guess too low, it can make me look bad. Like, I don't know.
But I think in a way she actually gave you the answer.
Did she though?
She doesn't know.
What?
Yeah.
No, I didn't give you
When
an
she
What's the
picked
answer?
the bear, she gave you the answer. That says how she thinks about
says-
that.
No,
She
that's
said-
not giving it the
Wait,
answer.
are you saying?
It is,
Are
because
you
you
saying
picked the
you're more-
bear.
No, that's what I'm more comfortable with. He asked me in generally saying, what's the
Yes.
percentage of all men
We got
that
a
would
champagne
essay?
bottle.
That's like a
This is
completely
crazy.
different question. I'm just not comfortable alone with men.
Wait, but you're comfortable alone with bears.
With the bear. That's the answer.
At least I won't end up in an essay. So there's not a possibility.
Well, it'll eat your
that-
face off, though. But like, that's the thing is, if you know,
there's
as long as you're not gonna get SA'd, the danger of a black bear, let's say, attacking you,
Why does the bear have to be black?
because they commit more of the task.
See, this woman right here, you see this whatever this is right here next to her, and you think this person, and by the way, this person identifies as an alien and a tree lover. So you would think that this person actually was going to be the most annoying person there. But actually, no, she was the most annoying person there. And it's because of comments like this. Imagine hearing like black bear and then going, duh, why does it have to be a black bear? College education at its finest. This is the product. This is the modern day products of college education, people.
Not an
Statistically.
African American bear.
Bears aren't asexual either.
No, but it's actually true that black bears commit more of the attacks. So the question is, how did you, like, you're just going from your experience that this has happened to you before, but Brian asked you a fair question is to say, like, well, a lot of things happened to other people before, and
Yes.
isn't it fair to say statistically that there's more people who don't commit aggression against other people than there are who do, just for any given
A lot
violation?
A lot of essay cases go unreported, so I don't know.
Yeah, based off of the data that is out there, you could look at like the DOJ, the FBI, crime statistics. So you could base it off of, well, what we do know. So based off what we do know, based off feminist propaganda that you've likely heard, what do you think?
I'm not answering. But I did answer the question related to comfortability, and I would be more comfortable in the face of an animal than I would a male alone in
Wait,
the
I'm
woods.
just a little confused. You said you don't like to be alone with men, yet like there's a video of you in the pool, like letting the dude pour alcohol down your throat.
There was several people around. We were not alone.
Okay. So, have you ever had a one-night stand?
I have had one, yes.
Okay. Is that how you met your current
And
boyfriend?
actually, I wasn't alone. I had a friend.
The friend was a witness to your sexual encounter?
The friend was in the vicinity of.
It was an orgy?
No, it was an
a-
orgy.
Okay.
I didn't go alone to a man's place.
Okay.
So you're saying that, let's switch up the scenario. Let's say at the zoo, there's a section, it's just a man at the zoo, right? And you're at the zoo alone, and you're like looking at all the animals from afar. You're telling me that you're more likely to get into the enclosure with the bear than the man? If you were to choose?
A zoo is a really bad example
Why?
to use
Yeah,
because
just
it's
engage with the hypothetical.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Bro, how do you... Yeah, if you had to pick one, do you get in the enclosure with the bear or with the man?
Seriously, I don't know.
You gotta use those poli-sci.
Bro,
those
what do you mean
poli-sci
you
degrees.
don't know? Here, do you need... How about this? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to figure it out. 1, 2...
I don't know. I did figure it out. That's my answer.
Yeah, that... Okay, think about it, though. Here's the hypothetical. You can get it in one or the other, and you have to choose. Which do you get in? Here, watch. Let me make it simpler.
Bad, like, just question in
Why?
general.
No, it's testing
No,
her
it definitely
logic.
is, because
It's
a
not
lot
bad
of times
question.
that people are going to commit violence or whatever when people are alone, right? So if you're saying a zoo and there's other people around,
No, I said
of course
it's
the man's not going
no.
to
I,
be
I said
aggressive.
that. No, I said there's no one there but her. It's just her. She's the only patron at the
then
zoo.
for sure, I understand what she's saying. Then for sure,
What do you mean? She's saying she doesn't know?
she says she doesn't know.
If only it was opposite day.
So, okay.
The issue is that she does know. It's just common sense. Like, yeah, if you have to choose to get into an enclosure with a bear or an enclosure with a man, any sane person is going to jump in with the man. Okay? Any sane person. That's the only sane, common sense, rational answer to this. That's why we know she's being in bad faith. She says, well, I don't know. No, she does know. She just doesn't want to answer it because she knows it's going to contradict her worldview and her answers.
If they're alone, if she's alone, she goes into the bear enclosure, whatever, right?
Yeah.
She could get eaten, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if she's alone and she goes into the male one,
What's worse?
could get essayed.
What's worse, getting essayed or getting eaten?
I think getting essayed, to be honest.
So
So there's a bunch of people that's always trying to gaslight you, tell you that that's not what happened, and blah blah blah. This, that, and
You'd rather die than the low percent
I
chance
rather
of getting
would.
essayed.
It's not a low chance. Chance.
How did you determine the percentage? That's what Brian asked you. How do you determine the percentage of going into
To
an enclosure?
me, I mean, she probably won't say it, but to me, I feel like
50%.
whenever I'm around like
60%.
majority of men,
Okay, how many
that
times-
I am not.
Yeah, what percentage? Give us a percentage.
Me? Okay, 80.
80. Okay, so
80%, yes.
4 out of 5 men are essayers. Do you have brothers?
Yeah, I have brothers.
You have multiple brothers. How many brothers?
I have 2.
2. So, okay, one of them, maybe even both of them are essayers.
Okay.
This is just an extension of your own logic. Okay, so you're just throwing
You're
your own-
acting like that's gonna hurt my feelings or do something to my brain, but it's just a possibility.
I
Anyone
mean,
could be.
I'm not really concerned if it hurts your feelings or not, but typically people like
You're
have,
like trying to get a getcha moment.
it's not really a gotcha, but
getcha.
so just to be clear, your own blood, your 2 brothers,
Yeah.
one or both of them
if
are essayers.
one of them is a piece of shit, I'm not gonna sit here and
Yeah.
defend them.
What about your father? Is he 80% chance he's an essayer?
I mean, could be.
Uncles, cousins?
Could be.
Your
I don't
entire
know.
family? Okay.
I don't know, but from my perspective and like my experience, most people are just like that.
This is why I try to bring this hypothetical into more realistic things. The path in the woods is actually a common enough, but I would say the most common example of a man and a woman in an enclosed area that happens every single day would be a man and a woman in an elevator. Would you agree?
And how many women have felt uncomfortable?
No,
alone
first,
with the men?
I didn't ask if they're uncomfortable. We're talking about the reality of something happening, not what you feel.
Okay.
So, would you agree that one of the most common habitual moments where men and women are together alone, it would be an elevator? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so if you were to take 100 elevator trips with men and women, there's just a man and a woman in there, like you could take a live feed of like a security camera. You could probably collect this, right? Is it more likely that we would find an essay in that example? Is that more likely than if we introduced a bear?
It's still
This
not a
is
good.
good example.
What do you mean?
Because
What?
you get off the elevator. There's
Like
going to be
anyone
100
What are you
videos.
talking about?
Or whatever, like you're still not.
What are you talking about?
asking a good question.
The man can
Of course,
hit.
someone's not
can
going
a
to essay
man-
you in
can-
an elevator. If
What?
someone's good, if there's like a possibility that someone's going to come in.
What are you
why
talking
would,
about?
Why would they
What are you-
essay you in a?
What are you talking about? You
in an
can stop.
elevator?
You can stop the elevator.
If a man stopped the elevator while I was in it alone with him, I'd freak out.
I know how many times on like CCTV and all these security cameras, how many times do you think it's happened where a man and a woman were in an elevator and the man didn't do that versus when they did?
The reason why there's those
Answer the
videos and
question.
it stops happening is because they're not even in the elevator
Answer
long
the
enough.
question.
If I'm stuck on an elevator with a man, like
I just told you he could push the button. You said you'd be scared at that point. I'm asking if the first step of essaying in this instance is pushing the button and stopping the elevator and doing this thing. I'm asking you, what's more likely to occur? A man in an elevator attacking you, being that you're both alone in the elevator, or a bear attacking you if you're both alone in the elevator?
Both would attack.
Both, same likelihood.
Because
Same likelihood.
because now
Are you
we're talking
hearing
about
this?
an enclosed space versus I'm alone in the woods.
Oh,
the
so
bears
men.
go do
Oh,
its
so
own thing.
men. Are,
Not
so
making
so
any
men are
sense.
more likely to aggress you if you're in an enclosed space.
I mean, yes.
That
What?
bear?
What do you mean?
No, I'm saying they would both attack you at that point.
How
'cause
many-
Now I'm in close vicinity versus we're in the woods and the bear's over there and I'm walking on my path.
Well, so is the woods an enclosed space or not?
No, the woods is not an enclosed space.
Oh, so that's not consistent then.
No, that's why your example was bad.
Well, a field isn't an closed space. You know how many people get aggressed in an open field?
I mean, I don't
understand. I don't understand what your standard here is, like how you're measuring this stuff.
We're talking about a field or a wood space.
I just gave you an example that happens every single day in every building right here in this city, right? There's an elevator.
Where there's literally like a 7
Hold on.
to 10 foot
Hold on.
different space.
No,
between me and
hold on.
this
They
person.
are in.
I just have a question.
You're enclosed in the same place, and what you said is
How many bear attacks happen versus essays? I just want to know.
Also, what if the bear
What?
is in the elevator?
That's what I said. I said they at that point they would both likely attack me because we're
Oh.
close together.
I
Now
thought we
there's
were
like a
Okay.
5
Not
foot
really. A
difference.
bear is
We're talking
not
about wood
guaranteed
space.
to.
Okay,
be
here's one
aggressive
more
unless you
follow-up
start
question, and we can move on.
I'm just saying that it's like
one more question. If a bear was in an elevator with you, right, or on a path, if a bear was on a path with you, would you want another bear, an additional bear, or a man?
what?
If a bear was on a path with you and
I
you thought,
heard you, but
look,
what? What
if you were on a path with a bear and you looked at the bear and you were fearful of the bear, would you want an additional bear or a man?
I would want a man.
Okay.
At least the bear could attack the man. Like I'm not.
That's
like,
That was good.
reason.
That's the reason.
That's the reason.
Myers donated $200. I can't believe it, but Alien is the sweetest and most honest soul on this panel. She can answer a question. I know you like trees, and I'm working with a twig. Let's make it happen.
Wow.
You want to think he's shooting a shot, to be honest.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm not looking for a relationship, but thank you.
I don't know, this whole man versus bear thing, it's just all cap. Like, have you guys seen a woman's reaction to a spider?
I have a spider.
I just think it's unlikely for a bear to attack you and, you know, like actually delete you. I feel like they're gonna maul you, and then you're just gonna be left like that. You know? It's gonna
No,
be
they're probably
worse.
gonna.
It's
They eat you
wasn't
alive.
statistics.
Bears
Not always,
eat
you
you.
never know.
Yeah,
They're
not always, and men don't always
I
essay
was
women.
agreeing with that. The fuck?
What the
Damn.
fuck?
I was agreeing
yeah,
with
it's
the
just going
bear.
off on everyone.
Yeah, that's what everybody can get the smoke, I guess. How about this? If you could, this is sort of related to the two women who answered bear. If you could get rid of all men, and this would mean that women would never experience essay from men again, would you do it?
I don't think it really matters because you can still get essayed by women too.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been there, so I'm just being
Okay, fine.
honest
How
with
about
you.
in this hypothetical, essay becomes impossible. So women couldn't essay you either, but they get to kick it. But all the men got to go.
What? I mean, of course, I would want to be in a world where no one gets
Okay.
essayed.
So just to be clear, you would get rid of all men if it meant that another woman would never experience essay from men again.
If they were going to go anyway, I wouldn't just voluntarily be like, hey, all men need to.
No, you have the power. Like, you have a magic button. You press the magic button, all men disappear, and that means no woman will ever be essayed again.
How about essay just disappear?
Huh?
How about
Just-
essay just disappear? How about that?
Cool. Answer the actual question, though.
Done.
Just
Done.
answer. Why can't you? Just answer the question.
If it's in the sake of essay, then I would say yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of a betrayal because my best friend is a male, right? But like I said, for the sake of like essay, I probably would say.
So now listen, even though this woman looks ridiculous and she's saying ridiculous things, at least she's answering the question. Where this woman right here, she doesn't want to, she's trying to not look ridiculous, but she is actually looking ridiculous by not willing to answer anything. Like, clearly she wants to answer, no, I don't want to delete all men to get rid of SA. Like, that's just the answer. Like, no, of course she wouldn't want to delete all men. But since she's so against SA, she doesn't want to sound like she's pro-SA either, because she might trigger some people that she knows or her fellow lefties out there that are watching this and, seething there, watching her saying these things. So she has to play the I don't know card.
Yeah, men can get the fuck out of here.
Okay, what's your answer?
I answered it already.
No, you didn't. Answer the question.
What is going on? Like, I feel like I'm saying words. I'm speaking English, right? I said, well, how about SA?
You didn't answer the question. Here, 2 + 2 = what?
Depends on the person.
You're actually retarded.
I'm just kidding. I'm
You're
just
actually
joking.
fucking retarded. Okay.
Relax. Calm down.
No, just can you be good faith? Answer the question.
I did answer it. You just don't like my answer.
You said, I wish SA would go away. No, that's not an answer.
I said, how about SA just go away? If you're going to, imitate me, at least get the sentence correct.
It's a hot take.
Wow, great. Maybe war can go away too. I love these empty platitudes.
A hypothetical, you know what I mean?
Yours isn't bad.
What's
a hypothetical answer? So just let her.
Yeah, I did give a
answer.
hypothetical.
Yeah.
I answered your question with a hypothetical. I was like, how about SA just disappear?
Yeah, that's not an answer.
But it's a hypothetical answer.
Wow, I don't even know what the fuck that means. Why don't you answer the actual question? Holy shit. Don't be pissy when we're going fucking late because y'all can't answer a question. Answer the question. This seems like an easy answer. Like, no, I wouldn't fucking eugenics the entire male species because 1% of them are criminals and predators. Mm-hmm. But okay, your refusal to answer the question further points, I mean, you won't actually give an answer, but I'm just going to assume then that your refusal to just immediately knee-jerk, no, I'm not going to kill 3 billion people so that some people aren't victimized. Yeah, you're a sexist against men.
Why are you attacking me?
Why are you refusing to answer the question?
I'm just being myself. What you told me to be at the beginning of the show.
Annoying?
Then I'm annoying to you.
No, you're just annoying, period. I don't understand what's so difficult here. Do you not understand the question? I can clarify. Would you like me to provide a clarification?
I understood the question perfectly.
Okay, repeat the question back to me.
You were asking me if I'd get rid of all men if that meant that SA didn't exist anymore.
Yep.
Cool. I said what I said.
Yeah. Would you?
Why are we going in circles?
Yeah, you said SA bad. I agree with you. SA bad. Do I need to repeat the question again?
What?
Okay, there's 2 possible answers to the question.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I would get rid of men. No, I would not get rid of men.
And I answered it.
Which of the 2?
I just didn't answer it the way you wanted me to.
Yeah, it's not answering the question.
I thought this was a podcast and I could answer questions the way I like to answer questions.
Yeah, but there's an expectation that you participate in good faith.
I am participating.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. I've actually been contributing more to the conversation.
Oh, you've been contributing,
yeah.
But you haven't been actually contributing in good faith.
What? These are my answers. Now I'm lost in the sauce.
Okay.
I'm confused.
If a question is asked and buried in that question is 2 possible answers, and you refuse to pick one of those 2 possible answers, and you just say, well, a component of what is inside that question, I disagree with that specific thing, that's not an answer to the question.
So look, chocolate or vanilla ice cream?
Chocolate.
Okay, you didn't say strawberry.
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because you said chocolate or...
Okay, that's his point.
But those questions, that's a simple question. These aren't simple questions.
I'm not saying it's a simple question. It is actually presented as a simple question. The answer, to most people, anyone else want to answer the hypothetical? Do you eliminate an entire section of humanity because just to eliminate the minority of perpetrations that are done by that group, or do you not? I mean, to me, it's a simple not. It's not justified, right? You don't
I think you try to make the circle as small as possible, though.
Yeah, you don't eliminate, right? There's all sorts of crazy consequences and entailments for eliminating the male sex, right?
Right, but of course, consequences should be done, for the guys who do that.
Sure, but the question isn't that. The question is simple. Do you use elimination as a tactic to get rid of a small aspect of that population's behavior? The answer is no.
No, yeah.
Why is that hard to say no? I mean, it's a reasonable answer to say, no, I wouldn't eliminate everybody.
Because then that's also implying that you're okay with a small percentage of the male species.
No, it's not.
No,
that's
logically
not.
No, logically
That's
it's
not
not.
it.
Yeah, logically, no, it's not. It's not saying essay, then okay. But to this person's mind, because she's been indoctrinated into this, you could tell this is a woke woman, a lefty woman. You could just tell. In this ideology, though, that's what they hear. Like, but if I don't say that I wouldn't eliminate men, well, then I'm condoning SA. So that's why this woman is in this pickle, which she's put herself in, by the way, because again, everyone else there agrees. No, it's wrong to eliminate all men because a small portion of them commit SA and such. All these other women get it, except maybe the alien girl. The alien girl's the only one that was like, yeah, screw it, I'll just get rid of all the men. But even then, at least she answered. But majority of them are saying, no, it's wrong. Why can't that woman answer it? It's it's actually a pretty easy question.
I think you're asking me.
Okay, but now that we've gone ahead and granted that, no, if you were to say, I would not get rid of all these men, how can I...
I think it's extremely unfair that I can't, say what I'm thinking. That's just how I'm thinking.
That there's a logical failure and we're trying to correct the...
Yeah, also, too, the thing is that she's not saying what she's thinking. Clearly she's thinking common sense and logic follows that, no, it's not okay to eliminate all men because of this. She inside knows that. So she's not saying what she's thinking. She's actually afraid to say what she's thinking because she's afraid of some kind of backlash.
Failure.
Logical failure, of my opinion.
Yeah, because your brother and your dad and your grandpa and all that can be eliminated too. And it's just not an answer. What you're giving is not an answer. It's just, there's a lot of it that you're not even considering. It's like you're coming from an anger.
What?
Most of your reactions is coming from a
Wait, hold on. Here, no, I'll make this super simple. Stop.
What?
Okay, do you think littering is bad?
Yeah.
Here, let's put it split, okay? Put it split. Do you think littering is bad?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think we should end the entire human species so we can stop littering?
Of course not, but littering is not SA. How can you even compare those two? It's a
I'm
horrible
addressing your
comparison.
previous. Hold on. Stop. I'm addressing your previous statement. So your previous statement was, if I choose to say no, I want to not eliminate all men, that means that I'm justifying this action of SA, right? But you were very easily you saying no. Hold on. Let me explain it. Now it's about to make sense. So I asked, would you eliminate all humans to get rid of, we all agree littering is a bad thing. Would you get rid of all humans to stop littering? No, you wouldn't. That doesn't mean that you're saying that littering is okay because you would preserve all of humans. In this case, you saying that you would preserve all men doesn't mean that you're saying that SA is okay. That's not what we're asking.
It's simple. You're just saying that humans existing is more valuable than eliminating littering or eliminating SA.
Both of you guys' examples that you use, which is chocolate and vanilla, and now you're comparing it to littering, is absolutely horrifying. SA is a completely different topic.
Those are two different things. The chocolate and vanilla thing was to demonstrate how to answer an either-or question. The analogy he's using demonstrates that if you don't take some crazy measure to eliminate something, some sort of consequentialist view, where you just eliminate everything. For instance, if someone's a vegan and they're vegan because they don't like harming animals, well, the best thing to do if you want to eliminate all harm for animals is actually to eliminate all animals, right? Now, if a vegan says, no, I'm not going to eliminate all animals, I'm going to work on reducing the existing harm on animals, right? It doesn't follow that they support harming animals if they don't hit the elimination button. That's all we're trying to say.
Got it. I understand.
Wait, question.
Still doesn't make sense.
Question. If we could, are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Pro-choice.
A pro-choice Muslim? I didn't know. Okay. Okay. Well.
So I think it's pretty clear this person's not like a true Muslim. She's Muslim because it's woke to be Muslim. That's all it is. I don't think she's an actual true Muslim here. She's just that because it's very woke and very lefty to be Muslim. I think that's all that's going on there because she is not consistent. I haven't followed really like in terms of, from my understanding of her on the podcast, she doesn't follow Islam more than she does follow Islam. You know, she might cherry pick 1 or 2 or 3 things that she follows from Islam, but everything else, it's like you wouldn't not tell that this woman follows the Islamic religion.
Don't really have. I was gonna say, if we could stop all abortion. Wait, that's such a dumb.
Some people die
just
because
get
they
rid
can't
of
get an
all
abortion.
women?
It's like a medical need for some people.
How about this? If, let's say we got rid of all women who are pro-life, like you just deleted them, and then like the next election cycle, that would mean that if we got rid of conservative women, it would mean that there would just be, it would pretty much mean Democrats would just continue to win. They're pro-choice. So if we eliminated all pro-life women so that you guys can maintain abortion rights, would you do it? Double.
If I say,
Just go ahead. If you say, go ahead.
if I say yes, we'll eliminate all pro-life women just to keep pro-choice, that's also not, that's me killing off a good number of women. But then if I say we'll keep all pro-life women and get rid of pro-choice, that's also killing off a percentage of women because some people need to have abortions to live.
But
it's a medical need for some
people. You're
people.
not killing off the pro-choice women. It's just the pro-life women that you'd get rid of.
I know. If I said that I would kill off the pro-life women, then that's a good portion of women that die. But then if I keep the pro-life women and get rid of pro-choice, some women also die because it's a medical need for some women to get an abortion.
Not killing pro-life women doesn't mean that abortion would go away.
What?
Like, your ability to get an abortion in a blue state would remain.
Oh, no.
I'm lost. What you just said.
So how does this question is different than the other question that you
I
didn't
still said I wouldn't decide. I basically still said.
You still can't decide.
Yes, I was saying if I
Got it.
choose to keep
But you
all,
were leaning towards not killing. But when
I don't want to kill anyone.
Okay, there you go. So she doesn't want to
think
kill anyone.
Unless it's unborn babies.
Context is very important to you. So what if the context was always, you have to decide or the world's going to end or something. Nukes are going to go off, but you have to decide. Would that context be helpful? Is there any context that would be like super helpful?
No.
Okay.
So how about this? There's a bullet, there's a gun to your head. If you don't decide, you get popped.
That's a good one.
If you don't give out your yes or no answer, they would kill
If there
you.
was,
How
if
would
you had to.
Yeah.
So now are you asking if she would sacrifice herself?
That's basically
No.
what he's saying at
I'm
this
not
point.
not
You're
sacrifice herself to
No,
have
because
that.
now
No,
if she
actually
would have a
saving
gun to her
herself.
head.
That's actually saving herself. That's
by
the opposite.
not by actually enacting the thing necessarily, but simply by giving your opinion.
Yes.
in this
You're not-
hypothetical.
Okay, explain it to me.
In this hypothetical, you're asking her whether, gun to her head, right? Gun to her head. If she wants to kill off one group of people over the other, I think at this point I would just, if I was her, I would just be like, I would rather die. Because why are you giving me that?
But hold on.
That choice, that power.
No.
Exactly.
Oh my God, let me. Okay.
How did we
She
get
doesn't
here?
have.
Look at Jim Bob right here. Jim Bob. Jim Bob wondering what he has done participating in this, being, listen, you want to talk about being locked in an elevator with a man. How about being in a room with women like this?
How did we get here?
Because he's attacking me for whatever reason.
She doesn't have the power to see said thing through. The gun to the head is simply, if you don't just state an answer, then you get the bullet.
Exactly.
So just to be clear, and you're not actually changing anything, nothing actually happens. You're just giving your opinion on something.
Got it.
You would rather take a bullet to the dome than just say, than just answer a question.
I'm just confused
Clearly.
why my life has to be at stake in this scenario.
Yeah, have you heard of a hypothetical?
Why am I getting all the
Because
hypotheticals?
The reason we got to the gun to the head is
Oh my
because it's
God,
the
bro.
only way we can get an answer from you.
That's not true.
Even that is not actually working.
That's a
something
good,
new.
even that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, it still doesn't work.
And the thing is, I'm answering the questions. I'm just not answering it the way you want me to, which is
Do you prefer red or blue? I prefer fucking orange.
red.
Yeah, but it's
mean,
like, I gave you two
That answer
options.
doesn't affect anyone's life or leave anyone at risk or no one dies in the answer I just
Yeah, but
gave.
if you answer any of the questions that we've asked you tonight, that doesn't have an impact either.
It does on
What?
me, on my image. I don't want to say anything wrong.
Exactly. See, my theory is correct. She just doesn't want to be perceived in a certain way.
Bro, whatever you're doing right
And
now
also, I
is
feel bad.
worse.
Like, I'll feel
Whatever
bad.
you're doing now, trust me, it looks worse than just. Okay, look, well, since you're just being stubborn or whatever, I'm just going to assume you're a sexist then.
Whatever.
Okay, cool. Some Arabic or whatever. I don't even know what that means. But
Literally, like the name of the podcast, whatever.
okay, cool. Let me change it really quick. I'm assuming you're just going to struggle with this one too, or just be intentionally malicious. But let's change the question from, let's change it from black person or bear. Do you think that if somebody picks a bear over black person, that they're racist?
You should spice it up and say it depends.
I literally, that's
maybe.
literally, I don't know, like another I don't know. And also, I feel like you're intentionally giving me more complicated questions and then getting more upset that I won't answer the more complicated
It's not
questions.
complicated.
She's doing the meme right now, the stop giving me your hardest challenges meme. And then it's like the other person just looking wasted and it's just answer the question.
Okay, it's super simple. If a white person is like, oh, I pick the bear over being in the forest with a black person, would you think they're racist?
Wait, a black man?
I
or
would
a black
ask them
person?
why.
It's random. So the person is like, it wouldn't matter if it's a black man or a black woman, I'd still pick the bear.
And I don't understand.
But would you think you understand, would you think they're racist?
No, I'd ask why. I'd ask why do you feel
Because I
that
was
way?
victimized by a black person.
Well, then I'd say that depending on the race. Well, you said white person is saying this, so then yes, I'd be like, okay, well then you're generalizing all black people.
What? That's literally what you're doing with men.
How?
Exactly.
What?
That's exactly what you're doing
That's
with men.
exactly your reasoning with men. You said
No, I said I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what if a white...
I don't feel comfortable. I'm not saying that all men would rape me because, sorry,
That's okay,
great.
just say
A
SA.
white
Just say
person-
SA.
not saying that either.
I'm not saying that all men would SA me. I'm saying I don't feel comfortable. So I'm
white
flipping it
person
back
doesn't
on
feel
me.
comfortable.
You're
This is
saying
how I feel about that.
Well, you're saying you're more comfortable with a wild beast than with a man, But the way you come to that conclusion is a generalization, correct?
No, I'm flipping it on me, and I'm saying I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm not looking at a man and being like, oh, he would probably.
Look, I know you don't feel comfortable. I'm going before that. How you came to the conclusion that you're not comfortable is that's a generalization. You're taking from particular things that happened
to me.
Yeah, and you're making a general statement, right?
And that's exactly why I said you're coming from anger towards men. That's how you generalize, and in your head when
why are you using the word anger?
Because
I think that's weird. I'm not angry at all.
It is. It has to be.
I'm uncomfortable.
To have a source. Yeah, but the
fear.
source of that is fear, and then
resentment.
anger and resentment.
You
and
can
all
be
of it
angry.
Has the same kind of negative feeling towards men.
A negative feeling, and I'm kind of offended actually that you're using the word anger, because I think that as women of color.
Here we go. It's racist to say that a black woman is angry. It's racist. Just
Women specifically, they're always viewed as angry, and I'm not angry. I'm uncomfortable. And you said negative feelings. Those negative feelings all have different statuses, different emotions.
Listen,
you can't generalize anger. I'm not angry at all. I'm uncomfortable.
You generalized men.
No, I did not generalize men. I flipped it on me and said what I'm comfortable with and what I'm uncomfortable with. I didn't say all men would do that to me. That
was me.
But that's your core belief. When you pick a bear instead of
my
man.
core belief is based on me, not me saying that all men would.
I don't care about the base of it.
You just said the core.
Answer.
That's the base. Your core belief. If you're going to debate with me,
your core belief is picking a bear over a man. Period. End of the story.
My core belief is that I'm uncomfortable being alone.
Wild bear that could kill you over a man, because deep down you believe men are worse than wild animal.
No.
What if she just feels that way about just people in general?
No, we actually talked. The question was a man and
not
a bear.
just people, yeah. But I have another question.
But they are people.
If you got to know
even if it was
how many minutes to get to know somebody, in this case a man, on the path, would then you determine you'd rather be with him than a bear? Is there you think there's maybe a threshold at which you decided, oh, okay, I trust this person?
No, I don't think there's a threshold.
It's just still the bear, no matter what.
It's just the It's just the discomfort of being alone.
Okay. Do you have a brother?
I do.
Do you have a father?
I do.
Okay. So let's take your father. You would choose the bear to be alone on the path You'd be alone on a path with a bear, and you would choose the bear over your own father.
No, I choose my father.
But why?
Because I know my father.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Is there a threshold where you learn that the person earns the trust, in this case a man? What's the threshold at which the man earns your trust such that you'll pick him over the bear?
Probably a few days, weeks, months.
How much money does he have to make? I'm just kidding. Well, that's what I'm asking. This question comes down to trust and knowing people, and what the initial question is asking people to generalize. It's actually forcing a generalization, but it is wild because if you look at it reasonably, it's especially with the second hypothetical where you actually encounter a bear and now you're in danger. Who do you choose? You said a man.
Right. And I disagree with you. I don't think it's forcing you to generalize, because you're still asking me, and you asked me why, and then I brought up a personal experience of mine. Right. So it's subjective. It's based on what I went through. That's why I answered it the way I did.
Right. But because someone like your dad exists, is it fair to say there's people like your dad? There are people like your dad?
Sure.
Okay. So if there are people like your dad, you're hedging your bet that there's less people like your dad that are kind, that aren't going to do this terrible thing to you, right? You're actually assuming that there's more people who would hurt you than less.
Yes.
Why would you assume that?
I'm not assuming that. I'm choosing a safer option.
That is
Regardless of whether they would hurt me or not.
okay. That is choosing that. Like for instance, if it's not the general question of a man or a bear, if there's a collection of men, there's 100 men, and you don't know which men you're going to get. Like let's say that it's 100 people. You just have no idea which man you're going to get, but you know there's men like your father in there. If we ask you bear or man, your choice is still assuming the worst of the collection of men. That you're assuming the statistics that your bet, right? You're making a bet. Your bet is on that you're going to get hurt if you choose the man, and you're risking getting hurt with the bear. You already know there's a high likelihood of being hurt by the bear.
I disagree with this because a generalization would be me saying right now that everybody at this table as a woman should have chose the bear because all men are dangerous in some way, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm more uncomfortable with being on a pathway alone with a male than an animal. That's what I'm saying.
Because she's generalizing based off of her experiences, but she's still generalizing. And again, if a white person were to say, yeah, I'll choose a bear over a black man, and let's say the white person said, let's say the white woman said, well, that's because I've had a lot of bad experiences with black men. I'm sure she wouldn't really like it too much. I'm sure she would think that was probably racist. But at the same time, she doesn't see how she's being sexist when she says, yeah, I'd rather be with the bear than a man.
But there are people at this table that said they'd be more comfortable with a man on the pathway. Okay, cool. Why? Because they have their own personal experiences. So it's not generalized.
Well, no, there's a way to take their personal experience and see if it maps onto reality, and to take your personal experience and see if it maps onto reality.
That's what I'm saying. So like it doesn't match onto reality because I'm subjective. Like
you're admitting that you're admitting that your own experience is inconsistent with general reality, that most men actually don't do that.
It could be, because that's why when you asked me about the percentage, I didn't want to give a percentage because I don't know the percentage. It could be a small group of men are capable of SA versus a large group of men.
Well, that's why I used the elevator example, because the elevator example demonstrates that 1 million times a day, more than that, I couldn't even put a number on it. Everywhere around the world, there's a man who gets in the elevator with a woman. And more of the times that happens, by a lot, the man doesn't harm or even threaten the woman, okay? But if you swap the man in the elevator with a bear, what do you think the percent difference is going to be with someone being hurt?
I don't like the elevator scenario. I don't, because it's a freaking enclosed room versus the woods. Like, what?
Do you eat dinner? And if so, how do you decide what to eat?
Don't compare SA to dinner.
Oh,
We're
no,
comparing
I'm not.
SA to dinner and
I'm
freaking
talking about your indecision, the pattern of your indecision. I'm not talking about
just because I have an
comparing or
indecision to
conflating
these
that.
complicated questions that also have emotional reasons behind them doesn't mean I'm indecisive in my regular existence.
Understandable.
Okay. But you agree that you're a sexist?
I'm not a sexist.
I mean, you kind of are, though. Against men, kind of are.
I'm not.
I mean, you'd rather be with a wild animal than alone with a man. It's kind of a sexist statement.
No, it's just I'm more comfortable with that. That doesn't mean that I think all men are capable of SA.
Yeah, what percentage?
I don't know.
She doesn't know. But I mean, you weren't even able to definitively say if you would save the entire population of males in the hypothetical.
I'm lost. I'm over. What?
The hypothetical was, okay, if you could stop SA, but it meant you had to just get rid of all men, would you do it? And you didn't give a yes or a no.
Correct. I did not.
Right. The fact that you don't give an immediate knee-jerk, no, I'm not going to delete 4 billion people or whatever, how much it is. It's pretty crazy.
Well, that also sounds like you're like attacking the people that didn't choose the answer that makes more sense to you as well. The people who wanted to delete the 4 billion people.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
If you're getting
upset
Are you upset? Is that the right word?
Yeah, I would.
Frustrated?
Sure. I mean, I'll put it like this: the fact that you are essentially unwilling to save, like, give an affirmative that you would save 4 billion men, but the entailment is, well, this crime that has to, like, the fact that you won't give an affirmative on, I want to save 4 billion people. Yeah, that's pretty.
So would you debate?
That's pretty damning.
So
that's pretty damning.
So would you debate with a person that definitively made the decision to eliminate the 4 billion people to get rid of SA? Would you be attacking them like you are me?
I would be attacking them worse, but
Okay.
Your refusal to answer the question points to the same.
No, it doesn't. It's you don't know what I would choose.
So why don't you just save us a bunch of time and make things really simple? Which one do you choose?
Or we could just move on to the next question.
Or you could just answer the question.
I'm so confused. I have answered the question. You just didn't like my answer.
I have another one. Man or man?
Like
man,
what?
Man
She
or
just is still gonna choose the bear. That's her
what is
answer.
it? Man or man, bear, pig from South Park.
And also, even when I did make a decision, now we're debating about the decision I made, which was
By the way, that person that made the man bear pig reference, by the way, while I do like the reference, it wasn't really all that funny. Came in at the wrong time. The person, the little boy looking girl right there, she's supposedly an underground comedian, whatever that means. Maybe it's because she gets buried so badly whenever she tries to tell jokes. Maybe that's why she's an underground comedian. Maybe she's an underground comedian because the jokes themselves are so hidden that no one could tell if they're jokes or not. I don't know what that means, but that's what that person identifies as.
No, but you didn't. Okay, here, I'll ask you a different question.
it's like if I answer it
I'll
or
give
if I
you a
don't answer it, you're still attacking me. I'm so confused.
I'll give you a fucking preamble and make the question.
I don't need you to give me a preamble.
In this question, there's only 2 options. There's only 2 options. So, in order to get portion 1, in order to get rid of SA, you can do so, but you have to delete all men from the planet. Or 2, you keep all men, but the current reality of some women are SA'd by some men, that would remain. Which do you pick of the 2?
I don't understand why you're repeating the question. That was the question originally.
But I'm giving you only 2. If you had to pick between one of those options.
Does someone want to answer for me so we can move on?
Nobody can answer for you.
I would keep things the same.
Okay, I'm gonna make it really simple for you. If you had to pick one or the other, which would it be?
One is like
You know what's interesting is none of the women are calling you out on your fucking bullshit. This is
That's
what
a
I call the
little
sisterhood.
aggressive.
No woman here
I
is
did.
calling you out on your fucking ridiculous
She did a little
bullshit.
bit. She did.
I've been
I'll give her a
trying.
little bit.
I've been trying because it makes no sense to me, and I said that a couple
Literally
of times.
incoherent. It's incoherent. I've refined the question where the answer you have to give is one or the other. So pick one.
I just wouldn't listen
Now
to
she's
former or
look.
latter.
You're trolling. You literally signed an agreement.
I'm not trolling at all.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. This
I'm
is really genuinely how I feel, and I actually
cooked.
feel like uncomfortable because I'm genuinely answering the questions that
You're not
the way that I
answering
want to answer
the
them.
question.
So I'm not trolling. This is genuinely how I feel. So I'm a bit thrown off right now, and I don't know if you're being serious
Here,
or not.
I'll repeat it. So you have to pick one of the 2.
You don't have to repeat it. Like, are you being serious?
Okay.
Like, what's
You have
happening right now?
You have to pick one of the 2. Answer the question.
I did answer it already.
No, you didn't.
No, you just didn't like my answer. Are we being
No,
like?
cool. But you said, well, I wish SA. Your answer was, I wish SA just didn't exist. The question is, if you had to pick one of, okay, do I have to fucking draw this shit? Here,
You already repeated it.
multiple choice question.
Thought he was going to draw a bear.
You might need a Venn diagram.
Okay, so you know how there's 2 options here. Sometimes there's 4, right? So I'm going to hold that up. I don't know. Hold on, let me put it. All right, multiple choice question. My fucking penmanship is dog shit. You see how there's those 4, I don't know, here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to just check mark 3. Right? Check mark 3. I can't just, in the middle, I can't just write 5. I can't just add in 5. That's what you're doing. It's a multiple choice question. Pick one.
You're making me really uncomfortable. And as someone who's been essay, that's why I don't feel comfortable choosing between 1 or 2 of the answers. So I said I didn't feel comfortable
How about
choosing.
this? If you could take back...
I'm so lost, and I'm
How
actually,
are you lost?
Because I'm participating in your podcast, and I thought I was adding great conversation, but instead you're attacking me.
Because you
and
refuse
I don't know
to
if you're
answer.
being serious or
You
not.
refuse to answer a question, and I think you're honestly trolling.
I'm not. Well, lucky I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling. I've been completely honest about who I am and my opinion since I got here.
Do you know what a multiple choice question is?
I do.
Okay, so there's 2 options, right?
Uh-huh.
If you ever taken a multiple choice test?
Yes, I have.
Okay, can you just write in like a different answer?
No, you cannot.
Okay,
That's why I didn't answer it in the first place.
Yeah, but so you now have to answer.
You can't force someone to answer a question.
I guess I can't. Yeah, I can't force
What is
you
happening?
to do
You
it.
could have moved on
but
to
you
the-
didn't
the
give a
sixth-
fucking answer, lady. You didn't give an answer. You're claiming you gave an answer, but you didn't.
No, I didn't claim I gave an answer. I
You literally just said you gave an answer. No, you were.
One would depopulate the entire human race.
Cool. I'm
This woman is absolutely cooked. She's cooked.
Did she give an answer, Jim Bob?
No, she gave a third answer, but she did give an answer when I brought up, well, what if it was your dad? And you said, I would choose my dad. And so we were trying to get to the bottom of, okay, if your generalization about men is given by your experience, you don't generalize your own dad given your experience. So what's the difference? And you said you'd know your dad, right? But if we told you that statistically, it's not the case that the highest percentage of men that exist are aggressors. So what we're telling you is that your failure to answer is, what I'm seeing here is your failure to answer is given by your experience. Your instinct is to say, no man, scary, bad, they could hurt me, right? So that's fair. If I give you that and I say, okay, from your experience, you're reserved about being alone with men. We understand that. But not all men. So your dad's not included, right? There's probably other people you know that are men. So we're trying to get to the bottom of, okay, well, what is your impulse to say man versus the bear, pick the man? Is it justified? What we're telling you is it's not. It doesn't actually comport with reality. But you're holding on to your experience as the arbiter. Does that make sense?
because you asked me about what I would choose.
Yeah, it got
So
to
that's
this.
why.
Well, it got to...
But I'd really like if we could move on because I'm starting to get uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable that you won't answer the question.
Okay, well, what?
It got to the point where Brian was asking, okay, well, how far would you go to eliminate SA? And it seems these, by the way, these kind of hypotheticals come up all the time to test people's logic. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you particular, it's anybody.
Well, it is in particular because there's other people.
That's right, but other people
here
answer,
waiting to answer the question and have conversations with you guys.
They did answer it.
Pointing it.
Yeah, but you're the only one who couldn't answer the question. Why is that?
I mean, you're also not giving everyone the same questions to answer. You guys gave me so many hypotheticals.
We already answered that question, that's why. And
How
it
are
made
the-
sense because...
I'm glad you think you make sense. That's perfectly fine. I think I make sense too. So.
We said
well,
hell
of
no.
course you think, but
Of
we
course,
don't
you all think you make sense too. So everyone thinks they make
A
sense.
non-answer
Well,
is not an answer. I'm not going to accept.
There are some logics
Stop.
that you have to base your answers to that logic. You
Okay,
can't
that
say
was-
all
I
men are
used-
bad.
and I
That's
didn't say
bullshit,
that.
right? Straight up bullshit.
Didn't say
you
that.
You can't say
A
I would
Don't repeat
eliminate
things.
all men.
Don't say things I didn't say.
No, it's
I
not-
didn't say all men are bad.
A
You
non-answer.
said exactly that. You say
No, I didn't.
I would eliminate all men.
I didn't say that.
I said that.
What are you confused?
Here,
I
just
didn't
stop.
say that.
No,
Just-
that's exactly
you
what's happening
just stop.
right now.
Just stop. Let me take care of this. A non-answer is not an answer. I gave you an A or a B question. Okay? I gave you, if you had to pick between two things, and you saying, I don't like this component of the question, you pick A or you pick B. If you had to pick one, which is it? If you had to pick one.
Like on a mass scale, if you think about it as like a mass scale.
I don't need
She
you guys to tell me. I understand
Guys,
the fucking
just
question.
allow silence until she answers.
What?
Don't just answer the question.
That's really weird. Just like,
Yeah, what is happening right now? Like, I thought that...
Yeah, you can keep, or you could just answer the question.
You're being extremely disrespectful.
You're being disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful.
If I
I've been
ask you a
contributing
question,
to all of the
if I ask you a
conversations.
question,
I've been nice to everyone.
No, you haven't. No,
yes,
you haven't.
I have.
You're fucking late. You're super rude. If we want to talk
What
about
was
rudeness,
super
you
rude?
were
I
super late.
apologize for being late. I
Didn't
drove from
apologize
LA to
me.
be here.
Didn't apologize to me. So anyways,
I
do you
did.
wanna
When
just
I
answer
walked
the
in, I said,
question?
I'm so sorry.
That's
Late.
cool. Do you want to answer the question?
And don't just say shit on the podcast for the sake of the podcast. I wasn't rude to you. I apologize to both you and...
Yeah, cool. Do you want to answer the question?
I feel
What
uncomfortable
is this
now.
called? Obfuscation or whatever? Is this rage quit? Okay. Cool. Think that's a rage quit there? Well, hey,
You know what? Good riddance. Like, people, listen, people might say, like, why is Brian so hung up on this or whatever? But if you weren't watching the podcast way before, this woman was kind of insufferable throughout the whole thing. She didn't want to answer anything. She contradicted herself a lot. Like, she's one of these woke lefties, right? Uses Islam to be, she's probably Islam. She probably follows Islam just to be woke. She calls her freaking sexualized pictures on Instagram poetry. She's one of these freaking woketards. And judging by her appearance on here so far, sounds like she never really takes responsibility for anything. She's also separated from her husband, currently dating someone new. I'm pretty sure she initiated that whole thing. But this woman sounds like she probably makes poor choice after poor choice, going around acting utterly ridiculous, massive walking L, and no one has ever called her out on it. She's probably in privilege, a spoiled brat, who's never had suffered any pushback in her life, and I'm pretty sure as soon as she does, she walks away from it like she just did now. She is insufferable, and personally, I'm glad she walked off. It was only a matter of time. I'm glad they weeded her out, actually. Congratulations to Jim Bob on his first appearance on the Whatever podcast. Hopefully it's not his last. Also, good on Brian, too, on both of them, actually, and even the other woman on there that kept holding her feet to the fire, because people like this absolutely need it. But what did you guys think about this? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you really enjoyed this. And if you did really enjoy it, I have more debates from the Whatever podcast. I have more from Jim Bob that I think you guys will really enjoy.